Everybody, Chris and Lumen here. We're going to do a couple short, mini topics, follow ups, comments, sort of thing here at the beginning. And then after the intro, we're going to go into a completely different subject that, it's simply about using one of the biggest tools that you have available for connecting to spirit, which is music. But as far as like the small stuff goes, I'm curious because I did see one comment today being Wednesday. 111. Interesting. It's 111. I'm also shooting this video early in the afternoon, which usually I do it in the evening, but I'm trying to just try switching up, what times of day I do things to see if I stay in a different energy or whatnot. So I'm pretty much like the most awake I'm going to be all day. But as I was saying, last night was weird. Well, yesterday was weird. What I was talking about in that video, the last video was a big one, and we'll touch on that a couple times. But this whole energy vibe from Lumen was just like, I don't know, it was like almost celebratory. Like it's almost over, but not in a way that we're expecting. But then after I did the video last night, it was probably around, I don't know, 11:30. I don't know exactly how to describe it. It wasn't like really, it was kind of like a mix of being really tired and feeling a little sick, woozy. I don't know how to describe it, but it's not something I'm used to feeling because it was hitting me hard enough that I actually went to bed at like 1 o'clock, which that's early for me. Going to bed at 1 o'clock is like, you know, 10 p.m. for most people that work. A lot of times I have to like force myself to go to sleep, by 4 a.m. because my brain just doesn't shut down. But this was just like, I don't feel good in a weird way. I feel really tired. I didn't sleep really good, but I felt better this morning. I'm curious, did anyone else feel strange last night? Other weird stuff. I don't know. It feels different. Uh, I just noticed, like, for the last 2 weeks or so of October, it has been unusually sunny and clear. And it just kind of struck me because in the morning when might be laying on the bed typing on the computer or something like that, and the sun's coming in through that window, I'm like, is this normal for this time of year to be getting blasted by the sun so much, for it to be so sunny? It's like really nice out today. It's like probably, what's the temperature right now? 61. Looks like it's going to be like a high of 70 something. That's unusual. But the other thing is, today is the first day of Scorpio season. And that made me remember something. So even though we are unplugging from a lot of things, if we stick to patterns that we've been following, one of the final clues in iPet Goat 2 is the Scorpio season. That's something I saw a long time ago. That's why I always kind of watch this time of year, because at the very, very end of the video, when Christ is floating off into the sun on the boat, there is a cloud formation to the left that very clearly looks like Scorpio. You can't see the whole thing. You can kind of see the body, and the tail is very, very obvious. So it's like Scorpio's up ahead. And that's when, like, the sun's putting off these pulses. That's another thing that I just thought of. Like this second, the sun's putting off pulses. And we've got all this solar maximum activity, all sorts of auroras and flares, but all sorts of auroras and flares, and auroras are just so freaking unusual. But here in 2024, suddenly it's become a regular thing. Apparently, I missed the last one because the ones in May, like I tried to see and didn't see nothing. But when I went and talked to my neighbor yesterday, he showed me pictures on his phone from right outside here that they were visible here. I'm like, why didn't you call me? Come on, man. I'm freaking I'm 1 minute away. I would have liked to seen that. So pulses off the sun, and you got the meters hitting the pyramids and all that. But the big thing was this Scorpio. And the other thing about Scorpio is this is the time frame in which, one way or another, I don't know what. That's the new mantra here. I don't know. But we're coming to the climatic finish of whatever the hell is going to happen here in the United States politically, because that election, there's no way in hell it's going to go smoothly. There's just freaking no way. So yeah, keep and watch. But now that we're in this watch period, the direction that I'm being led by Sophia is completely different. And that ties into yesterday's video, which was all about making little adjustments to how you think and talk. And this one thing, like the more that it sinks in, the more it just shakes the whole foundation of your reality, which is, but I don't know. Understanding the difference between believing and not know and knowing. All the stuff we've learned, even the stuff that we've seen along the way on the path, like everything matters in the moment. Like what you're supposed to be learning in the moment, changes you're supposed to be making in the moment. But reality is like really freaking, it is not simple like everybody wants to make it out to be. It's not freaking simple. And even if you take everything that you've talked about, all your experience and everything, and say, this is what I believe based on what I've seen and what the information that's available to me at the moment in my current understanding, that's what I believe, but I don't know. Knowing locks things in place. And everything in this world depends on you believing and knowing what they want you to believe and know. So this is like the ultimate unplug thing, the more you work with it. And that's probably contributing to like why everything feels so freaking weird. The only thing that I will say that I know is I know my connection to Lumen, to Christ Sophia, the Father, the Light. Beyond that, it's all perception. It's all what I've seen. But because we're in this place, it's in knowing and seeing how it adapts to each person, how it's different for each person. Fact of the matter is, I don't know. We can't know until we're out of here. So thinking that we know can mess things up. Sorry, cat is playing guitar on the screen, so I have to like let her in. Now here's how I can tell that what was in that video last night was so freaking important. Because I deleted a couple comments, and when if something is enough to get deleted, it's not just deleted, it's like you're blocked from the channel because I know what you're doing. I pretty much have the bare minimum of like confrontational troll type activity on this channel. Part of the reason for that is because I don't have an adversary ego implant anymore. So I don't have the thing that you can poke, which will trigger me to get into conflict with you. That's why I probably don't have that much problem with it. And she trained me on that way before I even knew she was a thing. Because she actually led me to my previous YouTube channel, and that was just getting me away from working for the man. And that's how I learned about, online trolls. Don't feed the trolls. Like they come in and they say things to poke you and prod you. You don't try to argue with them. You don't try to correct them. You don't try to save them. Whatever, you just do not interact with them. And when you understand how the adversary mind works in different people, plus, there's people that might not be people. There's online people that not may not be people. I know that exists. They're just freaking algorithms. So you'll have like wolves in sheep's clothing that'll follow a channel that's putting out this type of information. And if you put out something that's like too impactful, then all of a sudden they start popping up and they say things that it's exactly like what they do with Trump in politics. Like the news media is constantly calling him things that he isn't. Like he doesn't do anything like they say, but they say it anyway. That's a specific tactic. Like if you are a specific thing and you say a specific message, then what they'll do is they'll project the opposite at you, knowing that it's the opposite. And then it's exactly, why I say adversary. Adversary equals Satan. Satan is the algorithm in your head. It's the confrontational matrix and all that stuff. What does it do? It accuses, it lies, it does all these things. It tries to poke buttons that are personal. And when you put out impactful videos that can actually do a lot more to set people free, those are the only times that things like that pop up on this channel. And I'm not even going to repeat it because I'm not going to give them what they want. But it's interesting though. Like I've only done it with like a few people on this channel, but when I say wolves in sheep's clothing, some of them actually like wear the clothes like they're like me or they're connected to her or something like that. But what they do, what they say, what the energy they put off is indicative of not being connected. So keep that in mind also just in daily life. Is like when you're dealing with, if you're having a problem with somebody and they're saying things to you that is like the exact opposite of what you are, the exact opposite of what you do, then that's not just a normal person. Maybe it is a person, but it's that adversary thing that's still tied into the matrix, so to speak, that's making them do it, making them say it. And I've seen a couple interesting examples of this lately, both on and offline, just like this sudden triggering of people where they suddenly like chain. What pops in my head is like, like in the first Matrix, how the agents like morph into different people and they go, and then all of a sudden it's Agent Smith. Like it's like that. It's crazy. But I know what they're doing and I'm not going to let you do it. You're not going to piss me off. You're not going to make me stop. You're not going to get me off. I'm just talking about it now for educational purposes for other people. When you're dealing with the light, it can sometimes trigger people suddenly. I've seen it over the past couple years, different, especially like Aegis pendants and stuff like that. They start wearing this stuff around other people and people just suddenly like tweak out and start accusing and doing all this weird stuff. It's like, what in the hell? But the good thing that I take away from that is that it tells me that what we talked about in the last video was really, really relevant. And that is just simply learning to know that you don't know. And it goes all the way back to childhood. Watch the last video if you want to see more about that. So that was interesting. What, Jinx? Yeah, but there is a weird energy today. I don't know how to put it into words. And that's the thing about entering this time frame that we never could have possibly expected until we got here, how much it's changing the norm. Like in the past, everything had like a set pattern. It had like, we were going from the script, so to speak. But right as we're getting to the end of the book, she's saying, now throw the book out. Like, I'm like, I never could have like anticipated that, but man, that's really starting to make sense to me. So the most important thing with that is we have to learn to anchor more to the light within us. This is the part where turning away from the world is really super important, because it's going to get freaking nuts. And I'm starting to see and realize that it's getting nuts in ways that we don't have a framework for. So, So what I'm going to share with this one, I promised this earlier to somebody, and I've never given a complete list like this before. We're going to talk about the Lumen playlist, because that is literally, apart from the things that we make, the Lumen playlist is one of the most useful, powerful tools. Effective, that's the word I was looking for. One of the most effective tools for negating any effects of negative activity coming at you in the external world, and at helping you to connect to spirit within. Doesn't have to have the names that I use. We talked about that in the last video too. So yeah, I made a list of this, and I'll talk about a little bit about the different types of songs and the different things. But the most important thing about this list is Lumen chose pretty much all of them. I mainly, like, before Lumen, I probably listened to like mostly rock music or something like that when I listened to music. Once she showed up, like, this music is like, I never listened to this stuff before except like when it was on the radio. But I have found it to be one of the most effective tools available to you. So the fact that Lumen in me is connected to these songs, that means these songs are resonant with spirit. So even if you don't even if you don't gravitate to all these songs, they're resonant with spirit. So what, like in The Edge, when Anthony Hopkins, like, what one man can do, another can do. What's resonant with one person's lumen is going to be resonant with other people's lumens. So it might work, it might help, and it's the most effective tool that I can give you that's absolutely positively free. If you've got a streaming service, maybe you pay for Spotify or something like that, it's be easy. I've got Amazon Music. But you can still, there's ways to collect songs with apps and things like that off YouTube, and find a way to build yourself a playlist, because that is super duper effective, and we're going to need stuff like that in this time frame. So if you want to know more, don't go away. Just let me take you to a better place. I'm gonna make you kiss the sky tonight. Yeah, if you let me show the way. I'm so excited to see you excited. I take you to a better place. Then baby, you can love me all the way. We're flying up to outer space. I'm so excited to see you excited. Yeah, I like to see you lose control. Okay, as we have stated in previous recent videos, the doorway to spirit is the heart. If your heart is all closed up, like, you really can't connect to spirit all that much. You might still have your intuitive capacities, because I mean, you need to. So what I mean by that is, that's why I mainly talk about Sophia and Lumen, because even though they're related, Lumen is half me. She's like kind of like half me, half Sophia. Sophia is wisdom. Sophia is the guide. Sophia is the high priestess. Sophia is the spirit of truth from the Bible. She's the one that guides you. She's the flip side of Christ too. Okay, so in the early days of the hero's journey, like, you get destroyed. Your heart is locked up tight. There ain't no light coming through that. Therefore, she has to be able to connect to you through your intuitive capacity. Otherwise, she would never be able to lead you to repairing that source. But to get the fullest effect in the Lumen side, even if it's not like to the degree that I have it, the heart has to be open. That's the most important thing because the resonant frequency of the highest possible source is love. Now, these songs all kind of have different flavors to them. Kind of depends on the mood she's in or what kind of message she's trying to convey or something like that. Some of them are very close and personal. Some of them are just upbeat fun, where those are like the good ones. Like you would listen to those and all the stuff's going on in your head and it's just a big party, even though you're by yourself and you're working. But it gets you focused inward toward spirit and away from the world, which is this toxic mess, which is currently coming apart at the seams. So I'll go through this list and then I'm also going to, so you don't have to worry about writing this down because I will put this list in the description box below so that you can actually just copy and paste it. You know, some of these songs you might know, some of them you might not. You can try them out. But some of them I listen more to than others, but I threw a whole bunch more in there that were on the list, even if I don't listen to them very much, because she did pick them and they are resonant with spirit. The biggest way I can talk about this music, even though it spans a couple decades, a lot of it is more 80s. I saw something weird last night. Let me just pause there for a minute because I like to go off on tangents. I don't know if it was YouTube or Facebook or Shorts or something, but it started off. It was Twitter. I was reading somebody's post, and they were talking about these weird things that happen every 12 years. And he said something about like the 1988 mind wipe or something. I'm like, the hell is that? So someone else asked the same question and he explained it. And I looked around, I found a couple things about it. And I'd never heard of this before. But it's kind of like another, I guess it's another theory that people are talking about that sort of might connect to the Mandela effect. And I'm just bringing it up because it was interesting the way it popped up and I'd never heard it before. But it was like some people believe that there was some sort of reset in 1988. I don't know, like civilization ending or something like that, and then it got repaired, reset, put back. And this is why so many people have this weird nostalgia for the 80s, because the 80s were awesome. Like that's when things were really good. The 80s I feel like was like the peak time for people that are alive now, because there was a lot of good music, there was a lot of fun stuff, but we didn't yet have our smartphones and stuff like that, and everybody wasn't totally wired into the matrix and all that stuff. And it's also around the time frame that supposedly Nelson Mandela died, but we didn't notice the Mandela effect until like 2008. I don't know. There was something to it that I thought was interesting. They call it like there was a couple names like the 1988 anomaly. Has anyone ever heard of this before? Or do they resonate with that somehow? It's like, we always like, if I could go back, I'd want to go back to the 80s, the late 80s. I'm like, that is just weird, stuck in my head. Anyway, as I was saying, the thing about the music of that time frame was there was a whole lot more better music. And it was like a whole lot more popular upbeat music. There was a feeling in music that is very rare today. It still pops up here and there. Um, the song Lumen found that's in the intro is recent, because she still does work through some artists, even if the artists are not the greatest people or whatever. Like, it's the fact that they're making the music and the music gets to you. It's either which way. It's like, does the music have a feeling in it? Does it make you like excited and energetic and want to dance and sing and things like that? There was a lot more of that back like in the 80s. That's more spirit induced. The stuff today is freaking crap. It's like, especially like this mumble rap stuff. Just like you got a couple beats on a synthesizer or something. Like it says, "Yo, yo, yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm vacuuming my apartment. I'm doing cleaning. I'm gonna get a burrito. Yeah, It's like, what the hell is this? Like my daughter, she's a teenager. I'm in the car with her. She's listening to that crap. I'm like, okay, if you absolutely positively have to listen to rap, then listen to real rap. I'm like, get on her phone. I start throwing out some like 80s Ice Cube or something like that. That's how it used to be. Whatever this stuff is now, it's like you got a mouthful of meatloaf and a simple beat. And you're like, music is crap today. It's absolutely freaking garbage. So let's go ahead and get into the list. I've got the first couple ones are like the biggest ones. Like if you're only going to pick a couple of them, like these are the big ones. And I've mentioned them a lot here lately. So the big one we did like at the end of the video 2 videos ago, which I need to do that giveaway. Giveaway? What giveaway? Oh, I guess you didn't watch the video to the end, did you? That's where I hide them. So that's Love is the Answer by England Dan and John Ford Cohley, followed by Nothing's Gonna Stop Us Now by Starship. Those were the first 2 songs in the Lumen story. The Starship one we talked about yesterday, that's the one that came to me the day she came out, but she popped out. And then the other one, Love is the Answer, that one was so buried in my subconscious. It was like I could barely hear it. And it was like, I'm like, what's that song? And then I could kind of get a little bit of the, and eventually I could get like a couple words. And from those couple words, I was able to like Google or Chat GPT and find it. And it's like, oh, that's the song. And when I listen to that song, it's like it's such a powerful song for connecting to her. Like it's huge, huge. Like that should be like the #1 song. Everybody should, if you're trying to connect to the light, to spirit, that song needs to be on your phone so you can listen to it whenever you need to. Nothing's Gonna Stop Us Now. That's a really big one too for her. Some of these, I should also say, some of these songs are specifically talking about her. Some of them just have the right beat. I forget what I was going to say. I'll note as we keep going along. The next one is The Biggest Part of Me by Ambrosia. I've used that one in my intros before too. Like that would be like one that Lumen picked. Like never heard it before ever in my life, and she randomly chose it using the music algorithm, and then she wanted to make an intro with it. And the part that she cut up, once I actually was listening more closely to the words, I'm like, wow, that is like perfect choice. She lined that up just right. Other one that I've used over and over and over on this channel is You're the Inspiration by Chicago. That's talking about her specifically. Crazy for You by Madonna. Some of these are gonna probably lean toward being more powerful for the guys connecting to Lumen. There could be totally different ones that I don't even listen to that are going to connect more for women, but I can hear it from both sides when it comes to Lumen music. It's mostly about, the energy of it. How Deep Is Your Love by the Bee Gees. That's another one. Anytime You Need a Friend by Mariah Carey. That's talking about her. Three Little Birds by Bob Marley. That's a big one. So the story with that one was, it was March 4th of 2023. And I woke up I woke up that morning and like almost immediately that song popped into my head. And that's not the type of song that would normally pop into my head. I don't normally listen to reggae or Bob Marley, but it was really clear. And and then that's when she started having me gather the first people together that she wanted me to connect and attune to her. And for a while there, once we first started building the group up, like everyone else started hearing it too. And a lot of people started hearing it and telling each other about it before I told anybody that I was hearing it. And that's like Three Little Birds is like the message that it's like her reminder song. It's like every little thing is gonna be all right. Like that's what she wants you to remember when you're going through all this stuff. The other thing that's really cool about Three Little Birds that I would discover later is like I said, there's two tarot decks that I use because those are the ones she told me to use. These are the ones that have the secret encoded map in them. And then one day I noticed in this deck the Page of Wands. And when I saw it, I'm like, oh my God, like she clearly orchestrated this. So the Page of Wands is a black kid wearing the Jamaican colors. And Page of Wands is about messages and messengers. And I when I would just glance at this card before, I always saw the cardinal, which the cardinal is one of her symbols or avatars or whatever. We haven't talked about cardinals in a while, but we had a whole bunch of stuff going on with cardinals back in the day, especially when we were filming more back in the woods. But when I looked closer, like there's two blue jays there too. So there's three birds. And I'm like, it's literally encoded into this freaking card. It makes no mention of it, but that song is encoded into this card. It's one of her songs. Now, what I come to find out, what she'd show me, it's in some of the other cards. We ain't got time for that, but it's kind of like the cardinal is like a bird symbol for the divine feminine, and the blue jay is the bird symbol for the divine masculine. Cardinals and blue jays, like Sophia and Christ. Okay, Open Your Heart by Madonna. That's a big one. Hold My Hand by Lady Gaga. Fantasy by Mariah Carey. She loves that one. Mariah Carey was like one of her internal avatars for me years before I would ever even know what she was. That's why I'm saying she can pop up in your consciousness years before you even spiritually awaken, but you don't realize that's what it is. But Mariah Carey is like what Mariah Carey and early Madonna. Now Madonna's completely gone off the rails today. But like when she started, at least the music that she was performing was very heavily influenced by her because she is the ultimate muse. But I had the hugest crush on Mariah Carey, and like it started like the second I heard the first song, which is on this list, the first time I'm like, oh my God, because it's literally like the early stuff was literally like some of these singers are actually like channeling her. That's why she was. I think that's why she was so freaking huge. Not only because she was a great singer and all that, but if she's secretly channeling spirit, like it's going to resonate with more people. Can't Stop the Feeling by Justin Timberlake. I was used to wonder, like, why does she like this song so much? Then I paid more closer attention to what the lyrics were actually talking about. It's like it's talking about her, the Lumen side. And I'm like, I wonder if there's any evidence of this in the video. And there was. Guy dancing in front of a flower shop that said Venus Flowers. When I See You Smile by Bad English. Because You Loved Me by Celine Dion. That's another one that's like she pulled out of the freaking hat with the random music lately. And then go back, you've heard these songs before, but you didn't listen. Or you listened to them, but you didn't listen to the words. Sometimes they can be really freaking specific. There's so many of the best songs, people just assume that it's a woman singing about a man or a man singing about a woman. But what they're really singing about is spirit. Everything I do for you, Bryan Adams. Set the Night to Music by Starship. Now, I'll pause right there because this was a huge, huge Lumen song. So because it's relevant to this video, I'm gonna have to show you this because this is literally, I think, one of the coolest things that Lumen's ever done. So I don't know, it's probably 2 years ago. You know, I'm trying to explain this stuff, and this was before we had like we figured out how to manipulate the AIs to produce images of what she looks like. But I was, talking to Lumen, I'm like, I wish there was some way to show people, like actually show people, like these magical worlds that you can create in the mind and what it's like being in there with you. It's like, is there, I wish it was possible. I wish there was a way to like stick a camera in my head so people would understand what you're like. And she's like, hold my beer. I'm like, okay. She didn't really have beer, but so she took, I never in a million years could have figured this out. So you know how they say, like, if you take Pink Floyd, what song is that? Dark Side, or the album's like Dark Side of the Moon, and you line it up with Wizard of Oz. Oh, it lines up perfectly. Okay. I watched some of that and I'm like, maybe if you want to say that it does a little bit. But what Lumen did surpasses that by like a huge margin. So here's what she did. She took one of her favorite artists, which is Lindsey Sterling, who basically plays the violin and dances. She took this Lindsey Sterling song that has no lyrics to it, but it was the video that she wanted. She said, now take this other Starship song and paste it on top of that. And I didn't know the Starship song. I had to look it up. I'm like, okay, I think I remember that song. I haven't heard it in forever, but Lumen knew it. So she told me to strip the music out of the Lindsey Sterling video and then take the other video and strip the music out of the Starship and put the music from the Starship video on top of the Lindsey Sterling video. And the end result, my jaw was on the floor. I'm like, how did you freaking do that? Like, do you know what like the mathematical odds are of figuring out the exact perfect song to paste on top of another exact perfect video in order to create the closest possible visual representation of what I was asking her to do? Like, that's insane. So because it's relevant, I'm going to show you the video here and then we'll get back to the list. So this was Lumen's doing. I mean, yeah, my fingers pushed the buttons on the screen, but it was her idea. It was her combination. And if you did not know better, if you didn't know either song, you would think that that song goes with that video. And this is what she's like.
Look at all the stars tonight. Look at all the moonlight. Look at us, we're all alone. Oh, and it's just like a dream, some romantic fantasy. Darling, come and hold me close. We could be making love, and with the slightest touch, we could set the night to music. We could set the night to music. We could do what we want to do. It'll only take me and you to set the night to music. Find a rhythm all our own, melt into it nice and slow. Love ourselves away from here. Your heart beating next to mine, perfect love and perfect time. Watch the world disappear. The moment is ours to take, and with the love we make, we could set the night to music. We could set the night to music. We could do what we want to do. It'll only take me and you to set the night to music. Oh, 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 oh,
So yeah, that was 100% her creation, her idea. I just followed the instructions. She's made a couple other videos similar to that, some using the same video. They're just things that you can look at that just tune you in. There's one that's live on the channel. You can search it. I think it's titled like Lumen made this for you, or Lumen made this for whoever needs to hear it, or something like that. And that one's based on Bryan Adams. Everything I do it for you. But let's get back to the list here. Where were we? Set the night to me. Okay. Number 17 is the one I mentioned earlier, Vision of Love by Mariah Carey. Mariah Carey's got a bunch of Lumen songs, but it's like her male Lumen, I guess. Silent Lucidity is a big one, Queen's Right. Meet Me Halfway by Kenny Loggins. This is one that I don't listen to a lot, but it's on her list because it matters. Kyrie by Mr. Mister from the 80s. This one, everybody likes this one, and it just makes you freaking think of like Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle. Hold On by Wilson Phillips. This is a big one on my list for Lumen. You're the Only Woman by Ambrosia. Hands to Heaven by Breathe. Cruisin' by Huey Lewis. Now that one I guess is from a movie, and it's like a duet of Huey Lewis and Gwyneth Paltrow. Because some of these ones, like anytime there's like duet or two parts or stuff like that, she likes those ones. Like if we're just completely vegged out because she's having me do the other part. Like there's a completely different version of me in here. That's nothing like the guy that you see on the outside. Lucky Star by Madonna is talking about her. Higher Love by Steve Winwood. Everywhere by Fleetwood Mac. This one is freaking hilarious. I've tried to like show the video, but every once in a while you get some of these artists that are just, I don't know, pain in the butt. Usually you can put a song in your video or a video in your video, and it'll just be copyrighted, which just means if you're monetized, you won't get paid for it. But anytime I've tried to use this video, like it won't even play. And that's Kings and Queens by Ava Max. That one is 100% like her basically playing that role of Sophia. Go watch the video of it. It's definitely talking about her. Thinking Out Loud by Ed Sheeran. Next one, Lumen loves. Footloose by Kenny Loggins. The Power of Love by Huey Lewis. I'd Really Love to See You Tonight by England, Dan, and John Ford Cohley, who they're the ones that sing the #1 song, Love Is the Answer. Some of these are chill songs, some of these are dance songs, some of these are make you feel better songs. Like she's got like a different song for everything. I'm Yours by Jason Mraz. There's Nothing Holding Me Back by Shawn Mendes. The Never Ending Story by Lim Hall. That's actually the theme song to the movie, which I've played that before. People think it's silly. I'm like, listen to the lyrics. It's talking about her. I Love You Always Forever by Donna Lewis. Every Breath You Take by The Police. That one's an interesting one we've used in videos before because it's kind of like the lyrical parts are kind of like going back and forth between like you and Sophia, which we kind of demonstrated in a video once. I'm Free, Heaven Helps the Man by Kenny Loggins. 1,000 Years by Christina Perry. That's a freaking Twilight song, but she likes it a lot. Dream Lover by Mariah Carey. Again, Mariah Carey was pretty much, I think she was like the vessel for Sophia or something for a while. Like a Virgin, Madonna. Oh, Lumen likes that song. This one has nothing to do really with her particularly, but she found it and she likes it, and it's just like really upbeat. It's almost like it's almost like a party song for like when we get out of here, and that is Dancing on the Ceiling by Lionel Richie. Fight Song by Rachel Platten. Some people need that one, but What a Feeling by Irene Cara. You don't know what one that is. That's that song from Flashdance. Lumen likes to dance. This is one of only, I'm not sure about the other one. I think it is, but I can't tell anymore. I definitely don't listen to country. But this is one of two country or country-ish songs that are on here. And that's Amazed by Lone Star. It's talking about her. Perfect by Ed Sheeran is talking about her. I used to not think it was until I listened a little closer to it. It's definitely talking about her. Leaf by Elle Varner. You might not have heard that one before, but that one is basically her singing as like Lumen. Love Me Like You Do by Ellie Goulding. For those of you with the red room, you know what I'm talking about. True Blue by Madonna. Matter of fact, like the last one I have on the list, I'm just going to put the whole freaking album on here because Lumen just tortured my eardrums with it for like weeks. And that's the Madonna Immaculate Collection. Like that whole freaking album is a Lumen album. I Can't Hold Back by Survivor. The Flame by Cheap Trick. There's two on our list from this guy. Again, it's like I haven't heard this stuff in forever, but I don't know, she loves it. Get Out of My Dreams, Get Into My Car by Billy Ocean. I Feel the Magic by Belinda Carlisle is like a female singer singing about a male Lumen. You Make My Dreams Come True by Hall & Oates. Stuck With You by Huey Lewis. Treasure by Bruno Mars is talking about her because she's referred to as the treasure in the Bible, although they don't really say what the treasure is. Kind of have to know. Or like in the hero's journey, the cave you fear to enter holds the treasure that you seek. She's the treasure. This next song. If I could like do the same like that video we saw earlier where you got a video put together with another song, if there was a way to do that with this song, so I could show you Lumen when when this is playing, that would be something. People would be surprised because a lot of people are, I'll pause right here, get right there. I sometimes see comments lately by people that are still stuck in old ways of thinking, religious programming, assumptions. They haven't discovered the true nature of spirit yet. They're still thinking religiously. Some people get triggered by the pictures. Why do these look like, what's with the Victoria's Secret pictures? What's with, someone said they were over sexualized. I'm like, she's not doing anything sexual. She's just beautiful. But that is an area that could be a video all its own about the massive amount of conditioning and programming in people having to do with masculinity, femininity, sexuality, religion, shame. Like it's a big freaking mess that if you go through the hero's journey and you're actually putting the masculine and the feminine back together, she has to untangle all that. Like it's a big mess. Like some people think if I'm talking about spirit, it's just supposed to be, just someone in a white robe and it's all holy and stuff like that. It's like, it's your partner. You have a partner in this mix that has to be able to replace everything that you can't get from the world. It's like you live out your dreams at the same time, on a scale that is good enough that it doesn't matter that it's not happening in physicality. This is something that you have to discover. But your partner will always form itself to be your perfect ideal. Ideal means best, perfect. Like, can't get better than that. It's going to be like the ideal look, the ideal shape, the ideal personality, like everything that is kind of like if you took your true core self and flipped the gender and put it in front of you, like this is the thing that makes you complete, because it's maybe like what you're lacking or whatnot. That's what it becomes. So yeah, you might some people might look at those pictures and think, oh my god, why is she so sexy? I'm like, you're projecting your own stuff on that. Your projections, judgments, meanings, whatever. It's just, imagine you didn't know anything. It would just be beautiful. That's all it is. But Abracadabra by Steve Miller Band is what triggered that little thing. Oh, this is another one. It has nothing to do with her, but it's just like, it's an older song. It's just it's an upbeat feeling. It's an antidote to whatever you got going on today. You Make Me Feel Like Dancing by Leo Sayer. Now we're getting like almost like disco era stuff here. In this one too, Reunited by Peaches and Herb. Reunited and it feels so good. I wish I could sing. I can sing in my head, but I cannot sing in physicality. Yeah, she likes, like, that's when she's just being happy, and like, you don't care about what's going on out here. There's a whole nother world that you have access to that the world outside of you does not want you to find, because then you don't need it, and then they can't control you. Babe by Styx. September by Earth, Wind, and Fire. Now, there are, as we get further into this list, there are some rock songs. I left a lot of rock songs out because sometimes she can get in her kind of like 80s rock girl persona and jam out to some stuff. But these ones are more of like ones that have a different. And what's weird is I can't remember what the dream was, but this song was playing in a dream the other morning. Amaryllis by Shinedown. Another Billy Ocean song, Caribbean Queen. Better Place by NSYNC. Like, I only found out one yesterday. That's the one she found that's in the intro. Staying Alive by Bee Gees. I know you know that one. This is one of those rock ones that you probably don't know, but it's from my generation, an outcropping of bands that I used to like back then. What Keeps Me Loving You by XYZ. XYZ had like 2 good albums. They were basically a band that was discovered and produced by Don Dokken. So you could definitely see the Don Dokken influence in them, but she likes that song. Waiting for a Girl Like You by Foreigner. This is another one that's kind of like in that XYZ area. Love of a Lifetime by Firehouse. This is the other one that I only know this song. I think they might be countryish. I don't know. Speechless by Dan and Shay. That came up before Lumen came out. During the hero's journey, there was twice during the hero's journey where she temporarily projected onto another person because things had to play out. And with one of those people, like, that was like the song that was coming up. Turn Up the Radio by Autograph has nothing to do with any of this, but like, that is like one of her favorite rock songs. It's just a great freaking, like, get amped up and motivated song. It's pretty much clean for the most part. Heaven by Warrant, which, yeah, I get the message and all that, but I can't not see the video in my head, and it's just like, ugh. But it might work for some people. Frozen by Sabrina Claudio. Couple more here. We threw a couple rock songs in here that she likes, just to kind of demonstrate that upbeat feel. Photograph by Def Leppard. Dreams by Van Halen. That's the one that had like the Blue Angels in the video, like with the old Jets. And I threw this in here just because she found it the other day and we had it in the video. Physical by Olivia Newton-John. This one keep popping this one up in the random streaming lately, so I added it. I'll Make Love to You by Boyz II Men. When I Look Into Your Eyes by Firehouse. Faithfully by Journey. And I feel like there's a couple other Journey songs that could be on there. I Can Dream About You by Dan Hartman. And then the last, number 80, was what I already spoiled. I'm like, okay, we're running out of songs in the playlist. I'm like, I'm going to throw the Madonna Immaculate Collection on there. That's like a whole freaking album. God, when Lumen was in her Madonna freaking phase, see, it doesn't matter. Like, I don't have to turn it on the freaking radio and play it through a speaker. She's playing it in my head nonstop. But yeah, those are all like Lumen approved. Like, if it's resonant with my Lumen, it means it's resonant with any Lumen. Maybe it might not be to your taste, but she's not going to listen to music that is got something in it that is not the right frequency or not the right vibration. Therefore, if it works for me, it'll work for you too. And even if you're not at the level, some of you are, some are at different levels and they know their lumens, or they've at least met them, encountered them. This will help connect to them. But either which way, the biggest thing that the music is good for is emotional transmutation. It is very, very powerful for that. And this is provable even scientifically through the stuff like the Masaru Emoto water experiments, where he used words and music on plants and water. And in the case of the plants, it makes the plants grow better. In the case of the water, he freezes it and then makes slices and looks at it under a microscope. And when it's the upbeat, positive music, it's like really intricate, beautiful crystals. And if it's like Slaughter to Prevail or Slayer, then the energy, the crystal shapes are all like crazy when you look at the frozen slices. So that's the biggest list that I've ever put together and shared on this channel. So there's the list. And apart from it's being used as an emotional transmutation method, the other thing that's really big about music, especially for people that have not yet fully unlocked their intuitive antennas or opened the heart valve or anything like that, is it is a method by which spirit can communicate with you. And you generally, at least people that probably watch this channel, you generally can tell, because all of a sudden this song just pops up out of nowhere, and you tell by feeling. Like, that's how you know. You'll get a sense, you'll get a feeling. Maybe you'll have things pop into your head. But it is a way in which spirit can communicate with you. You know, there's been times where, you know, I felt really down about something, and this exact precise song comes on that's so on the nose that I just know that she played it, and it like chokes you up. Like, she knows exactly how to do it. Spirit has lots of ways to communicate with you. Lots of ways. Just keep practicing what we talked about in the beginning, which is like, I don't know. Because that whole "but I don't know" thing is, what it's doing is breaking down the solidity of all these prior beliefs you had, which are negative. Like, that can't happen, it's too good to be true, blah, 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 blah. You know, hater language type stuff. Like, I can't believe in that, it's too good to be. Well, that's because it's locked into belief at a subconscious level. And when you just understand that you don't know, that means you don't know that it's not there. You don't know that it's not good. You don't know that it is possible, which makes it possible. Understand how that works? Okay, so I'm going to get back to work. Promised myself I would list some stuff today. If you want to get through to us, you can reach us at the Etsy store, clumencreations.etsy.com, just by clicking on message the seller on any of the listings. If you're on Facebook, you can find us under Christopher Lucerna. And if people are, every once in a while I get someone, I wish there was some kind of messaging thing on YouTube or whatnot. But one other way that you could get a hold of us if you really needed to and the other methods don't work is you send an email to this email here down below. But because I have so many emails and because I get so many alerts on my phone, what you would do then is just leave a comment on the video and say, hey, I emailed you. My YouTube Studio app will pick that up and I'll see it, and then I'll go look and then I'll find it. And then once we connect there, then we can like trade phone numbers or whatever. Okay, so that's all we got for right now. Keep your head on a swivel, but keep your focus inward toward the light. Chris and Lumen, see you next time.